اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توغى وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. It's been 23 days now we have been together, and in this sacred month of Ramadan we tried to learn some things, and it's the last week of this glorious month, which is also leaving soon. Now, there have been things that we learned. Whatever we learn in the sacred month of Ramadan, it stays for long. When you charge your iPad from a laptop, it takes slow and it's very long to charge. But when you connect it to the mains, it charges fast and quick, and it also remains for longer. Just like that, this month of Ramadan, it is so much full of special favors of Allah, that whatever you do in this month and whatever you learn in this month, it lasts for long. Now in this Suratul Qadr, when it says that Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr, that is Laylatul Qadr, it is better than 1,000 months, it means that whatever you do, it is multiplied by 1,000 months. For example, on the Laylatul Qadr or the day of Qadr, it doesn't matter. Now today it's the day of Qadr, and it may be the Laylatul Qadr also tonight. So in that Laylatul Qadr, you give $1 as charity. Allah accepts that as not $1, as $1,000,000. If you help someone, you give a date to someone to break his fast, that is not going to be one date you gave to one person. It is going to be multiplied by 1,000 months. That is, you give a date to someone to open his fast, to break his fast, multiply that by 1,000 and multiply that by 30. Says that much of a sawab you get for doing good on Laylatul Qadr. And especially in these last few days of the sacred month of Ramadan, the Prophet, he used to occupy so much in worship, in du'as, in prayers, so that because the month is leaving, and it's a big blessing that was given to us, which is also departing. So we learned quite a few things. Now one of the things that we have to give very much of importance is the prayers that we offer. We have to recite them, offer them correctly. When it comes to the recitation of the surahs, you have to recite them correctly. Now it's easy, it's just 2 surahs you need for prayers, Suratul Hamd and then Suratul Ikhlas, and then you need 2 recitals, Subhanallah, Subhanallah for Ruku and Sajda, and there is 1 tashahhud. Tashahhud has to be correct. Every bit of it has to be correct. I'll read tashahhud once, you listen to it carefully, and if there is tashahhud that you all know, it's slightly different to what I recite, then you have to correct your tashahhud. Because if tashahhud is wrong, the entire salat also will be wrong. So we have to be careful of our duties, of our prayers. So tashahhud is like this: Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That's it. Nothing more and nothing less. So it's just these 3 sentences that you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. If any of you, your tashahhud has a little bit of a flaw or some problem in it, get it checked, get it fixed. If you want, you can call me, I can help you fix your tashahhud. It's very important that we need to correct our prayers. That is the first and the topmost priority. Alright, that is one. And secondly, the other surahs also that you recite, be careful that all the surahs, they are recited correctly. One more thing, I did touch and mention that yesterday. Hussein, can you turn off your video, because there might be some people fasting here. It's not nice. Okay. All right. So yesterday we did talk about that, and that is wuzu. Wuzu has to be correct. Give some time when you're performing your wuzu, and don't rush. Take your time, because in wuzu also, if you don't perform your wuzu correctly, or some parts of the skin they have been left without being wiped and washed in the wuzu, that wuzu also becomes batil. Now generally what happens is the elbow, you've got the skin over there, it's dry, so you need to apply that water. It gets to that elbow, you have to make it reach, so you have to rub it like that so that the water gets to your elbow, because that skin is dry. So you have to make water reach. If you don't do that, and if it remains dry, that wuzu will be batil. Batil means it's void. And then the prayers also that were offered with this wuzu, that was batil, that salat and that prayer also will be batil. Okay, so be careful with these action, with these amal, especially the wuzu. Don't rush, take your time, slowly do it properly. And then when you want to perform the wuzu also, especially when it comes to the masa of your head, when you're wiping your head, the head has to be firm. Don't have your head wobbling around, moving around, and then you perform your mas and wipe your head. If you're performing the mas of your head and you move your head like that and your hand was stable, that masa is also batil. You'll have to redo that mas, that wiping. Now, the same thing is with the foot. When you are performing the wiping of your foot, the foot has to be firm. It has to sit without moving, and then you wipe your foot with your right hand and your left foot with your left hand. So the foot has to be stable. So if the foot is moving and your hand is also moving, that will also make that masa, that wiping, batil. As a result, namaz also will be batil. So be careful. A little bit of a time is required, maybe 30 seconds extra, not even more, just 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds. That do your wuzu properly, and then maintain your hygiene, your taharat, your cleanliness. All these little things, they matter a lot. So when you make it a habit from this age, and in this month of Ramadan, if there were any flaws in your wuzu, in your masah, in the wiping of the head and feet, that fix that all, and all that has a great impact in your life, inshallah. So whatever we learn in this month, it remains. Some people, they are so smart that whatever they learn in this month of Ramadan, for them it lasts for their entire life. Some people who are weak like us, maybe we work in the month of Ramadan and we get some things and collect some good things. It may remain for a few months. Some have got a better charging life. It may stay with them until the next month of Ramadan. But some have a very beautiful battery in them. Everything that they learn now, it remains for their entire life. So we have to work. So that's one. Give time and importance to the wuzu that you do, and also the prayers that you offer. If there are any flaws in your tashahhud, get them corrected. If you want, you can send a voice note. I'll listen to it. If it needs correction, I'll help you. The same thing is with the surahs. That's one. We talked about Dua Joshan Kabir yesterday, and it was recited on Laylatul Qadr. So some of the followers of Ayatollah Sistani, they might be observing Laylatul Qadr tonight. So those of you who are Ayatollah Sistani's muqallideen, listen to that dua, be part of that dua, and just get acquainted with the dua. It's beautiful. And try to see the translations of some of those phrases of that dua. We believe that Allah, He is living. He is alive. So what do we mean by He is alive? If you remember, a few days ago I did mention there are three attributes, three qualities in Allah that have to be in Him. One is His life, that He is living. Second, it is His might, that He is powerful. And third, it is the knowledge that He has. So these three qualities of God are always with Him. They cannot be removed from Him. For me, my life can be taken away. I'm dead. I may forget and my knowledge is gone. And also the might I have, maybe something happens and I can't move my hand. So that ability, that might is also gone. But for God, this cannot happen. When I say God, it means living. When I say God, it means mighty. It means someone who knows. So the knowledge and the might and the life in God is part of His existence. Now, what do we mean by He is living? Now, those of you who have recited Dua Joshan Kabir, or who will recite Dua Joshan Kabir tonight, in the 69th segment of this dua, now if you remember, I told yesterday, this dua also was a gift that Allah had sent to the Prophet when he was wearing a heavy armor. And Allah said to the Prophet that recite this dua, it is a protection for you and your nation. You will be safe. And even when we recite this dua, it is a protection from all these evil and negative in evil acts and evil traits that we can get into. So in the 69th segment of this beautiful dua explains, in the Almighty Allah, He explains what is meant by living. In Arabic we call Hayy. Hayy means living. In this dua He explains, Ya Hayyan qabla kulli hayy. God, He is that living, He was living before every living. So whatever you can think of, example, Prophet Adam was the first living being that Allah created. So before Prophet Adam started living, he did not live. But God is that living who was living before every living. So He always lived and He will always live. And then we say, Ya Hayyan Ba'da Kulli Hayy, means that, O living after every living. So I'm living now. I may die tomorrow. So I've got a date of birth and then I've got a date of death. So I will die, but after my death also you will see God is still living. So God was living always, and even after me, He will be living forever. Now, the other phrase that we have in that dua, it's segment 69 again, says, Ya Hayy, alladhi laysa kamithlihi hayy. O living, that is, whose like is none, no one is like Him who lives. So He is the only living who is just like Himself, no one else. For me, I'm living. There might be some other persons who were born in the same year I was born, who may die in the same year, then I will die. So that living person and me, we are similar to each other. Or you and me, we are similar to each other. So we are similar to each other, meaning that we came into existence and we will leave this existence. So we were born one day, we will die one day. But God is that living. There is no one like Him. That is, He was living when there wasn't anyone living. He will be living when there will not be anyone living. He is that unique and the only living who doesn't have anyone like Him. Now, and then we say, Ya Hayyu alladhi la yahtaju ila hayy. It means, O living, who does not need any living. Now I want to live. For me to live, I need oxygen, I need food, I need drink, I need a shelter, I need to be protection from cold, from heat. So I need so many things to continue living. God, He lives without needing any of these things that I need. So what do I say? He is that living who doesn't need any living. For me to live, when I was a baby, I needed my parents who were living parents to look after me. When I get old, I need living children or living support who could take care of me. God is that living who doesn't need any living support. He doesn't need anyone. And then we say that God, He is that living who gives life to other living. I can't give life to any living. I can't give life to anyone. And God, He is that living who kills every living. So every person who is alive, He has given life to him. Every person who dies, He takes away the life from him. And then we say that He is that living who provides every living. So the food, the drink, the shelter, the clothing, everything that I need is provided by Him, the living God. So He is the provider who provides to everyone who is living from the moment they are born and until they die. That living creature, he needs a support of whom? Of a living God. A living God, who is He? Who lives without anyone giving him life, who lives even after everyone has passed away, who lives, who gives life to all the others, who lives, who provides to every other. And now one more thing is that, and now when I'm living, I inherit certain things from my father. My children, they may inherit something from me. Your children, they will inherit something from you. Life you will give to your children. They are born from you. Now then we have God who is living, who doesn't inherit anything from anyone. So He hasn't got a father to inherit from, nor has He got any children to give that inheritance to them. So that living is unique. No one is like Him, who doesn't need anyone to get to life, who doesn't need anyone to transfer that life to Him for Him to continue living. So we say that Ya Hayyan lam yarith al hayata min al hayy. He doesn't inherit anything from any living. And then we say Ya Hayyul ladhi yuhyi al mawta. He is that living who gives life to the dead. Which living can give life to dead? No one. If Prophet Isa is giving life to the dead, that is because Allah has given him the ability. If Imam Mahdi alayhi salam can bring people back to life, it is because Allah has given him that authority, that ability to do so. So they themselves, they cannot do it. God has to give them. So God is that living who gives life to the dead. And that is Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum La Ta'khudhuhu Sinatun Wala Nawm. Now okay, I'm living, I get tired, I start yawning, I sleep, I wake up, I get fresh. God is that living who never yawns. God is that living who never sleeps. God is that living who never rests. So see how beautiful in this dua, segment 69, Allah, He explains what living means. That is, when I say Allah is living, so all these beautiful statements have been mentioned in this beautiful dua. So Allah, He lives. He gives life to every living. He was living before every living. He will live after every living. He kills every living. He gives life to every living. He provides every living. He doesn't inherit from any living, nor does He give inheritance to any living. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل